Hey guys, I'm here. Welcome back for episode 5 of season 2 of Severance. The last episode saw our gang trekking through the wilderness. Seemingly, at least, I've seen some people kind of be like, hey, what if this is just some kind of like internalized ecosystem or whatever? Because we never really, I don't know. I was like, who knows? At this point, I'd buy anything. Because there was this whole idea, I think it was like, did they actually let them outside? Was the question that I saw a lot of people floating around. That did kind of flutter across my mind during the episode, but like the further we got into it, I just kind of let that drift away. There was a lot of things in that episode, among many things, that was really interesting, especially considering that we know that Irving, his Audi, has been having dreams about his inside life, about these little things like bleeding over. And in season 1, he was also, out of the group, the only person to really kind of just fall asleep on the job pretty consistently. And then this is like his first time, you know, them being activated for a full day and longer. First time any of them really truly has ever slept. There's a lot of really fascinating things in that. But at the end of the day, after everything, you know, he saw through Helena's disguise and called her out on it and forced them to bring Helly back. Helly is now back, but Irving has now been let go. But I wouldn't say that all is lost, because, you know, his Audi is still out there, and as long as reintegration is still on the table, we can always get him back in some way, shape, or form, I would imagine, assuming, you know, something doesn't happen to his Audi, of course. You know, Bert's kind of trailing along outside as well, following him, so I'm not sure exactly what that's going to lead to, but I'm excited to see how Helly is now going to reconcile with everything that's happened, and how the team's going to reconcile with everything that has happened now with the loss of Irving and the realization that she's never even been back. And then especially after that night that Mark thought that they had spent together, how is that going to come into play? Are we going to see his reintegration also start to kind of increase, like some of these little spasms you had, is a little like trickling in the last episode? But we're at the halfway point. This is our halfway episode, and I'm excited to see what happens next, especially with the title. So let's get ready to hop in. If you want to see the full-length reaction, as always, you can check it out over on Patreon, or if you become a member of the channel, get you access as well. It is a watch-along format, so you will need your own footage to sync up with the time codes for actually the entire episode. Over there, get the same thing for all the other shows and movies that we cover on the channel. You also get to suggest and vote on movies we react to each month. It's just a great way to support the channel, help us do the things we do over here. But at the end of the day, I really appreciate it. Enjoy this reaction. To at least leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you're not already, because it really helps these videos out. That all said in LA, let's get ready to hop into episode 5, Trojan's Horse. Here we go. It's a bunch of dental tools. That's concerning. But look where we are. What a wild just visual. Damn it, we can never get a look at his face. Who are you? Who are you? Dental tools? What was I just talking about? What was the last episode or the episode before about Gemma faking her death and stuff like that? Was like 2 episodes ago, I think. Like, or not faking her death, how they faked her death. Because he said he ID'd a body. You know, there's the crispy cookie scenario he talked about with the Rickon thing. So if she was burned alive and they've got like this whole little thing here, the dental record thing may not be that far off the table. I love this show so fucking much, man. I'm so glad that our patrons turned me on to it. Is this post-reintegration regimen? Oh, yeah. What is all of that?
You need to get your dryer fixed.
Yeah, or you could
Thank you.
like, not live here.
I can't keep coming in and out.
That's also a very valid point. I mean, would you not imagine? For sure. They would definitely have to be watching you.
Keep going.
Maybe tonight. I'll decide later.
Because I haven't remembered anything else.
Oh,
Right.
interesting.
Well, maybe he already has.
So he had the one experience, and from then it's just kind of been back to normal but we're seeing like little trickles, at least with any mark. That little flicker that occurred mid-coitus or post-coitus.
Will I be updating Father later? He should hear it from me.
We have decided to spare him knowledge of this contretemps.
Oh, they don't want him to know.
The medical team says your tempers will rebalance quickly. Perhaps we could arrange another obligement session this evening.
I said I'm fine.
Obligement session.
We're close. What's he at? 78%?
81.
It won't be much longer. You can do this.
I want to know what this all is culminating to. What this is all building up to.
It will be your innie.
My Annie who tried to kill me, and then the other one tried to kill me. They're fucking animals.
Ugh.
I'll just fake it again.
We can't take that chance.
And Father approves.
Father encouraged it.
Mark S. won't work without her.
And the work is mysterious and important, so we must give him her.
I love how this is escalating, how this is kind of turned around. Wow. What a sight to be welcomed back
Good morning,
to.
Heliar.
That has to be confusing as all
Who the
hell.
fuck are you?
I'm Miss Swung.
What the hell?
Please follow me. Mr. Milchick will explain.
All I remember about the description about the trailer scene everybody was talking about was her reaction to that painting. Or maybe it was just a scene with the painting involved, because who knows how it was cut. I don't know. I still haven't actually checked. I don't plan on it, but
Come on in.
I need to know what's going on.
her shock
Like
to the
right now.
changes
Where's Irving?
coming
Why
back
is he trying to
in.
drown me?
Because you're a fucking vegan.
Was she spying on us?
Wait, what? Are you saying that she was down here as me?
Maybe she still is.
Hey, I repeat
Oh,
myself.
oh God.
Where is he?
I'm so confused.
Answer my question!
Excuse me. Helena Egan, in her executive capacity, was conducting valuable research.
By stealing my fucking body?
Irving had no knowledge of what management's intention was in this action, and in so doing, he nearly drowned you. Our only option was permanent dismissal.
So he is dead.
No. Irving B's Audi has departed on an elongated cruise voyage.
I don't give 3 dry fucks about his Audi.
She doesn't have the right to take my identity.
I love all of this so much, man. This battle of self. What is self?
Have you ever heard the story of the Glücksschüppen?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Let's assume we haven't.
In ancient times, the king of Sweden himself was known to go incognito amongst his people in the hopes of learning their true grievances. He would don an old gray robe, Glücksschüppen, the name for which he was remembered, to disguise his royal vestments. Keir Egan himself was known to do so in his ether factories, and Miss Egan was carrying on this noble tradition.
Had nothing to do about
Smells
grievances.
like horse shit. Yeah, Swedish horse shit. And Irving is still dead.
Irving B's Audi has departed on
On an elongated cruise voyage. Yeah, I know. Is he gonna come back or not?
If the answer is no, he is dead.
He is not.
Wow, some actual honesty.
Yeah. Outside of
You
him still
fucking
covering up
murderers.
for their shit.
You can't do this to people.
His actor, I haven't stated enough. He's fucking amazing. Everybody in the show is, but I feel like that goes without saying, but I love his performance as this character. He's a fascinating character. But yeah, the whole idea was that based on what we had saw when they all kind of started trickling back in, that reaction didn't occur to the freaky ass painting or whatever. That was the description that I remember. It's just I don't remember if they had mentioned Miss Wong being there or not. Oh, they removed his whole ass cubicle.
Hell no. I'm
Wow.
not going near that thing.
This is sad. This is heartbreaking, man. Oh, ew. What the fuck? They even erased him from the fucking photo they took.
Careful, Dylan. Words of consequences. I'd hate to resend certain privileges.
Oh, is that going to come out? I'd wonder what that meant there if I was anybody else.
Let us have a funeral.
I'm sorry.
Aw.
Irving is a person and he's gone. We'd like to have a funeral, not a retirement party. A funeral.
Aw.
right?
I like that he specified that because this is a very different situation than Bert.
Is this MDR's position?
Dude. Well,
Sure, as long as it's quick,
quick.
so it doesn't take up the whole day.
Well said, Mark. I'll see if we can pull something together. In the meantime, let's make some forward progress on the files at hand. Shall we?
That was a weird response from him.
Thank you.
Unless he's blurring, because that felt like Audi Mark for a second, that intonation in his voice. I think that's what's happening.
I'm gonna come in. I'm coming in.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude, it is.
Are you okay?
No, not really.
Yeah, seriously fucked up. Couldn't tell that she wasn't me.
Obviously not.
What was she like?
Like you. Or you're like her. I don't know. I don't know
Which is
who
which?
you are, I guess.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Wow.
It's not my fault that my Audi hijacked me.
Yeah, no, totally. I get it. It sucks.
Mark,
Yeah.
what happened to you up there?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Nope.
Do you want to hear what happened to me?
No, I don't. And let's just try to forget it.
Or maybe, okay, it's either that Audi Mark is shining through a little too much here right now at the moment, or maybe he's reconciling with the fact they did what they did in the tent and now he's so confused and violated and whatever. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't even want to talk about it, think about it, maybe ashamed of himself. I don't know. I'm curious about all of this, but he is kind of exhibiting some of those Audi Mark.
May I say a question?
You may.
You shouldn't let them have a funeral. It makes them feel like people.
That wasn't a question. That was an opinion, unsolicited.
Your first performance review is today, right? That was a question.
I'll ready the refreshments. You focus on the mournful signage.
I genuinely think he does care
Today we
on
honor
some
Irving
level,
Lee.
both about them and the company in some way. You can always see like conflict in his eyes and stuff like that.
Let us each take 9 seconds to silently remember Irving and thank Kier for our time with him. There. You may now lift your heads and open your eyes. We will now have a eulogy from Dylan G.
Just how sterile this is, man. It's just,
It's hard to pinpoint a favorite Irving story. For the least fun guy in the world, he was really fun. He put the dick in contradiction.
Nice.
One time, he was pissed at me for watering down the toner, so he put toner in my water cup. He stopped me before I drank it, though. He just wanted to make a point, not harm me physically.
Aww.
But I did accidentally take a sip of it later because I forgot he said that. He asked me for help with something near the end, and I didn't listen. And in his final moments, he would have been totally justified in telling me to suck my own fuck. But he didn't. He was awesome, and I miss him.
Miss him too already, man.
Thank you, Dylan G. A little sugar with your usual salt.
I like that description, actually.
You may now briefly partake in Irving's fruit head.
Oh my goodness. I'm good. Oh God, please don't. Okay. That is unsettling. I don't know, maybe he's just really, really
Okay.
taking all this hard, like the last.
You're not staying?
I gotta get to work, but great ceremony, guys.
Seriously?
I mean, isn't it kind of over?
If it is Audi Mark, I do love that they automatically know something's wrong. Even if it's not, they know something's wrong immediately.
He's not dead, he's just not here.
You two catch up?
What's that?
Did you tell her Miss Casey's your wife yet?
Oh yeah, shit, I
Wait,
didn't even
what?
think about that. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's my Audi's wife, but sure. No, it's pretty crazy.
Mark! Why won't you talk to me?
What do you want to talk about, Helly?
I don't know, maybe the fact that Miss Casey's your Audie's wife? What are we gonna do?
No, we're not going to do anything.
We'll figure this out.
Will, there's no we, Helly.
What?
It doesn't matter. They know everything. Me, looking for Miss Casey, us wandering around, meeting other departments, mapping the floor,
Hey,
all of it. They know everything we're doing because Helena told them everything we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Mark,
I mean, he wasn't
I'm
saying
not
that was
her.
the
I'm
case,
not.
but
I'm me.
And how do I know that?
ooh, yeah, he's just okay. He's just taking this really rough, just defeated. Absolutely.
You just have to trust me.
I love that he's like split, out of focus, soft. He's not all here,
Stop being a fucking
but she
asshole.
is finally.
Your first performance review as department chief.
Just before we begin, I was wondering if I could have a word with you. I was just wondering if you could share with me a little how you felt when you received the paintings. Because I'm thinking our experiences here have been similar in some ways. We face similar challenges, and perhaps the paintings and the somewhat complicated feelings they evoke.
Mr. Drummond's waiting.
Yes, of course.
Deflection. But I think she understands like that little like micro expression she just gave there. I think she's just, I don't know, too afraid to talk about it. What are you thinking about? Hang in there. It was a clue, maybe. He left him a note. No, let's see what it said. I could barely read it though. A note and his drawing of the exports hallway. Dude, let's go, Irving.
Mr. Melchuk, today I will be conducting your monthly performance review. If the review is to take longer than 4 hours, there will be a break for lunch, with the order taken in advance.
Well, I hope that won't be necessary.
Here is the lunch menu. There have been 3 contentions reported, which have been investigated and confirmed.
Oh?
1. Uses too many big words.
Well, perchance I may colloquially employ...
Anti-deflections will be heard after the lunch break. On several of your daily logs, the paperclip was installed back to front, which led to a confusion as to where in the document to begin reading. Here are the incidents.
What?
You brought in a new refining team for Mark S, which failed to coalesce. You instituted kindness reforms that seemed to have in no way deterred curiosity or idling by the team once they returned. You arranged
So those were all his
team
idea.
building occurrence, which resulted in the termination of one employee and the discovery of the true identity of another, at great risk and harm to the Egan name.
It's interesting that those are his decisions, and the fact that he's kind of getting in trouble for treating them like people.
Look, Seth. Mark Scout's
Oh.
completion of Cold Harbor will be remembered as one of the greatest moments in the history of this planet. It will take place under your stewardship.
I want to know what they're working on. I've heard some and read some wild theories.
Remember these severed workers' greater purpose. Treat them as what they really are.
Oh, oof.
I'm tightening the leash.
Damn. Feel so bad for him, man.
Hi, Mark. May I come in?
To the elevator?
How was the rest of the funeral? Did you get what you needed from it?
Did Miss Wong take notes? I can't wait to read her article about it in that newspaper you showed me. What was it called again? The Bullshit Gazette?
Hopefully now we can put all this grief and tumult behind us and look forward to some productive work days ahead.
Putting the numbers in the thing.
Refining.
Right.
Yes. Does that sound good?
Whatever you say, Mr. Melchick. Praise cure.
Did you and Heliar catch up?
We did.
Did you tell her that you fucked her outie at the Orpo?
Wait, so he even knew about that? I feel like that would have been something she wouldn't have shared. But I guess either they were spying on her in a way that she wasn't aware, or she did tell them everything. I mean, that's his shame is probably part of the reason he's being so callous with her now that she's back as well.
The workers were diligent, focused on the task at hand. Pleasantly surprised, I noticed that not a single worker had a watch. They simply referenced a large standard clock near the door, just hands and numbers and cogs and purpose. Your sovereign boss may own the clock that greets you from the wall, but you get to enjoy its ticking and thus should be happy. Babe, it's the literal opposite of what you were saying before.
Yeah.
I see how you'd feel that way, but she said that innies tend to thrive in an environment of structure.
Oh my god, he is so... he's so naive.
It's a Trojan's horse. If I can get my ideas to severed workers all across the world, it might beget a revolution.
But these aren't your ideas.
Yeah. It already was the Trojan's horse.
You know that, and if you want to water down your work so they can use it for their fucking propaganda, then you're hurting people too.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a fiscal and creative opportunity unlike any I have yet seen, and I'm not inclined to just walk away from it. Unless me selling millions of copies of my book and the life that manages to give us has somehow lost its appeal for you.
Wow.
Okay, whatever. I'm gonna go to bed.
No.
It's not about any of that, dude. Another late night phone booth meeting.
They fired me. I think they knew what my Innie was up to. I'm telling you to...
Oh.
I have to go.
Yeah, so they were working on something, and he caught him this time.
Why are you following me? I got this thing when somebody shows up on my doorstep screaming my name. I want to know why.
Okay, it was that simple.
I got canned a couple of weeks ago. When I pressed them for a reason, they said my Innie had an unsanctioned erotic entanglement with another worker. They wouldn't tell me who.
Oh.
Then you show up at my door.
Wow. That's very honest of them.
You were an item? Well, Fields certainly thinks so. We had to cancel our trip to Milwaukee. Thanks for that. Fields? That's my husband's, Fields.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well...
And I'm sorry I came at you just now.
Uh-oh.
It's fine. We got a ham. We're planning to have it tomorrow. It'd be nice if you come over. We could sit down, talk through it all.
Wow. That's interesting.
I suppose.
Interesting.
You need a lift?
I'll walk, thanks.
You sure? I know where you live.
Oof.
See you tomorrow.
Who's he working with, though? We know there's like the whole anti-Severance like group out there. Is he working with the doctor? It's helping Mark. Who? And somehow he's aware that his Innie was investigating something, or maybe that whole thing with the dream, them painting, is some way to get that message into his Innie through a subconscious means.
What the fuck are you doing?
I needed some pressure points, things to rattle your memories. That her?
What I thought was her.
Just makes you wonder, who was that?
Who's in there?
They know people at the morgue. On the payroll, like everywhere else in Kier. You feel all right?
He's had that cough ever since.
Basically, so...
Or maybe he caught that cough out in the cold, because he didn't have it on their trip.
Usually that's best.
Usually, you've done this once.
I don't want to rush things. There's risk. It's not an exact science, Mark.
I'm not sure it's science, period, but okay. Are they hurting her?
I don't know.
You're Audi.
What?
I didn't say anything.
What was that?
Your Audi can parallel park in less than 20 seconds.
Oh, is Miss Casey's review.
Your Audi can roller skate with grace. Your Audi pays all of his gas and electric bills within 3 business days. Your Audi listens to music while shaving, but not while showering.
This is wild, man.
Your Audi prefers 2 scoops of ice cream in a serving, but they must be the same flavor. Your Audi once captured a butterfly.
Oh.
Your Audi is going to be...
Oh, he just got a little glimpse. Oh. There it is. Okay. Took us a minute to get to that credit there for a second. Good God. Whew. This was an intense episode. I love the way, like, Milchick has really tried to stand out. We saw that even in season 1 that he operated differently and more humanitarianly. As much as he, like, is here for the company and doing all the stuff, spouting all their stuff, like, he's twisted things, he's bent things, he's kind of tried to, like, play with the rules a little bit, stretch things, especially when he was kind of moving counter to what Miss Cobell was doing in season 1. And then here, you know, he's the reason that these reforms came into place, these kindness reforms. Like, he wanted to run things a little differently. He wanted to treat them as people. Miss Cobell, she just pretty much stayed in her office. Like, when they were doing these little celebration things, it was always really with him. Like, he's the one that spent the most time with them, got to know them. Like, you know, as much as everybody else outside that he's reporting to, you know, thinks that they are animals. That was Helena's words, animals. So then that just makes you wonder, well, then why did she go through with what she did? Is she just lying? Is she just trying to convince herself? Did she just have a moment of just weakness as a person, getting this intimacy that she's not received elsewhere? I mean, hell, they talked about putting her into like this, like, I don't even know what you would call it, this like reconditioning coming out of this traumatic event, making sure that her tempers are aligned and all these other things. They're expected to behave a certain way. And she's quite literally like, he should hear it from me. And they're like, we shouldn't tell him at all of this fuck up. It was even her father's idea to put the real Heliar back in there. Her feeling of helplessness and powerlessness, I feel like she's projecting maybe even onto her point of view of them. The way that she's being treated is how she's treating them. It's like a trickle down effect of that. You know, hurt people kind of thing. You know, that saying. We've seen how the events of last episode have kind of culminated in this. You know, we lost Irving, but like Helly's back. But she's back to a group that feels even less coherent than it was even with Helena because of that whole thing. Because not only that, you know, that does that complicate the situation because they had that moment, that vulnerability together in the tent with Mark, and now he realizes that that's not her, that every little step, and especially with that revelation, because she's been there right beside him every step of the way throughout his journey. And while, yes, she didn't deter him at all, even encouraging it at points, she was there, so she still knows everything that they've planned to do, everything that they wanted to do, and everything that they have done, regardless of whether or not they've got surveillance or not. He feels, one, betrayed, disgusted, defeated, feels like he can't trust anything anymore. He didn't see the signs before, so he can't trust himself to really let himself believe that this is Helly either. And that's a whole other thing for her to wake up and come back into as well, because her body was essentially, and again, this is the whole show's idea of what is self. You know, the fact that these people are kind of while they do share similarities and embody different people because their experiences and their lives are different. Like some are unburdened by certain frustrations and weights that weigh down their other, and therefore they kind of lead and live a completely different kind of life and outlook. Again, they share this body. It comes back to what Mark did, and then our conversations about all of that, and then the situation with Gemma, with Helly, and then now Helena thrown into the mix. And then on the flip side of that, for Helly to find out that someone has been running around down here pretending to be her and all of that, and how violating that's just gotta feel. But she's powering through that. And I think a lot of that is because she's just trying to wrap her head around what all she's missed. Because so much is now different because of all of that. And now there's this rift between these two where there used to be this warmth. Because at first, like the way he was acting, which I guess, I mean, when you boil it down to the fact that these life experiences are really and these memories are really the only thing that really defer these people's cores in these alternate ways that separate them from their innie and their outie. He had to go through this massive defeat to really draw out that outie Mark, because he was acting like outie Mark. The way that he carries himself, the tone of voice, his inflection, his body language, all of that. But that's just outie Mark's entire existence, is depression, defeat. And now that he's experiencing that, they're more similar than ever. So I wasn't sure for a little bit if, because he was coughing, he was showing those little symptoms there of the reintegration, or because I think PD also had a cough, correct me if I'm wrong, but you could also argue that maybe caught a cold out there. But I don't think that was the implication there, as he's going through this like post reintegration regimen with the pills, with whatever is in those jars that he's got in his fridge that he's drinking. I imagine it's like a specific cocktail of things to help get him through all of this. And maybe it wasn't even like a full like transition. Maybe like I wasn't sure if he was, if the driver had changed, or if outie Mark was just, his feelings were bleeding into his present moment. But it was just the revelation of everything that happened before. The shame, the guilt, the fear, the just this melancholic defeat. It's like, there's nothing we can do. We can't fight these people. Every ounce of energy that he had, that he was putting into finding Miss Casey, has just been sapped after that. And then the fact that he couldn't tell the difference, he also feels broken there, misused, especially because they did sleep together and then it wasn't even her. And now she's here and he's just trying to avoid that conversation, avoid talking about what happened. It's just so, I get it. I like that the way they wrote that though. And again, it's the power of these performances. And now with the juxtaposition between Helena and Helly here, in the way that she was acting like Helly, it's way more clear to me how distinctive that was, because that fire was just right there and apparent with Helly. Coming off the elevator and immediately seeing Miss Huang and that painting, it was like, what the fuck? What the hell? And she just wants to understand what she's missed, but she came back, and now she woke up to this group that has, he's defeated after everything that he's experienced. Irving's gone, Dylan's lost, but that whole hang in there. And somebody actually, I saw that in the comments, somebody talked about that hang in there was referencing the poster in the break room. So somebody caught on to that, and I definitely didn't. I was like, okay, this has to be some kind of something. He left him his little doodle of the export hallway and a note. I'm wondering if we can get a shot on that. Where was that? It says from Dad. Oh, sorry, duh. That's O&D. First something night on the way down the hall and turn. Oh, right. Oh my God, it's directions. When he sat down with Felicia and was talking about the exports hallway, I guess, this is the conversation we didn't get to hear. She gave him the directions. He wrote them down on his little doodle and left that behind for Dylan to find. That's why his final words were, hang in there. It was a little clue, a little hint. The fact that on the outside, while Innie Irving is for now hung up, outie Irving, as we saw with these little late night visits to this phone booth, is investigating. And this exports hallway thing that he's been painting, that he's been dreaming about and all this sort of stuff, it seems like he's doing all of this, painting this, working with somebody who maybe knows about it, doing these paintings in repetition to transfer that subconscious message, that visual image to his innie, because he said that his innie is still doing his investigation, or they found out that about what he was doing or what he was up to or something of the sort. So like he was trying to activate his innie through these like this subconscious messaging, and it turned out to work in some way, shape, or form, which is kind of interesting. Otherwise, it would raise the question, how would he have seen it? Because Irving wasn't aware of it. Maybe could have wiped his memories or something like that, but that doesn't seem to be the case. He didn't know what this hallway was. He just knew the visual. He knew that he was seeing these glimpses of it, and he wanted to know what it was after he walked into his innie's house. Speaking of that, when that same night when he went over to Bert's, this whole thing with Bert creeping in and following him, he was like, I just want to know who the hell showed up at my house banging and screaming in my name. So I was keeping tabs on you. You know, they let me go not that long ago, and, you know, I assume you're also severed as well, because based on the explanation they gave me, I was wondering if maybe that was you. And then he invites him over for dinner with he and his husband, which is interesting. That might be an awkward conversation. I'm curious how that's going to go, if we'll see that set in on that. Just like talking about, too, like the differences in the way that these innies and outies are viewed. You know, just seeing how Miss Huang has also been conditioned. She's like, you're seeing them too much as people. You're not seeing them as what they are. I don't know, man. There's some crazy stuff. We've seen that dental guy coming in to get dental tools. We know that a body was identified. We don't know how. We don't know the surroundings. We talked about the way that they've got access and people on the morgue system so that they can do this on a whim, because they cremated someone. He ID'd someone. The only way I can imagine they would have been able to do that, based on the way he described the scenario given to his sister about Rickon, she was probably burned beyond recognition, and they probably just swapped out her dental records or something for someone else. You changed out the teeth on the body that they gave him to identify, and then went from there. I don't know, man. It's just some really wild, sick shit. And now Lumen's coming down on Milchek, because as he's loosened the reins and he's been treating them as people, trying to treat them with respect, with warmth, and all this kind of stuff in a way that Miss Copel never did. Now they're coming down on him because under his watch, all these other things have started to transpire. And now he's tightening the reins, and he's getting in Mark's face and just throwing this out there. I was like, does she know that you fucked her, Allie? Did you talk about that? Did you catch up on that little part? So I'm so worried about how this is going to go, man. Then you have this whole thing with Rickon and his book being just completely used to just kind of backpedal on quite literally everything that he was talking about in his initial book. Like, she called him out on it. It was like, this is the opposite of what they were responding to before. All this is selling the propaganda to keep them in line and all of this. He's just becoming a mouthpiece for Lumen. He's selling out, quite literally, because he starts to be like, well, this is a paycheck. And she got absolutely disgusted with that. That's not what this is about, man. He's so ignorant to so many things. Interesting episode. But right now, that's kind of all I got at the moment. So I can't wait to read your all's comments and see how everybody's feeling after this episode. We'll catch back up next week, guys, as always. So sound off the comments and let me know your thoughts down below. We're carrying the conversation after the video. Hope you enjoyed the reaction. If it did, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you're not already. Remember, if you want to see the full-length reaction, as always, you can check it out over on Patreon, or if you become a member of the channel, get you access as well. And speaking of before you go, I want to shout out our channel legends. Manny Share, Your Korskov, Robert Anguiano, Jeffrey L, Jake Cottrell, Eric Official, Casey Wood, Russell Crock, and a Watchtower. Thank you guys so much for continued support, and everybody who's been supporting the channel along the way. But that's it for this video, guys. So see you all in the next one. Take care, everybody.